Hello, 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 Andrew here for Cat Skull Gaming. It is that time for the weekly Dev Diary. We are doing it live. It is Saturday, September something or other. We have had a good week so far. It is Silksong week, so we've been playing a lot of Silksong and just really kind of absorbing what a good game Silksong is. Team Cherry's design ethos is very much about making a very particular type of game for their audience. They know who that is, and they did that. And they did not compromise when it comes to things like run back or difficulty. Even though I disagree with some of those design choices, I can see the value in them. And it is me thinking deeply about, Project DBP and its own difficulty settings and how we're going to tune that and what we should be going for. But that's future problems. Right now, we just need Project DBP, Dice Babble, talking in the morning. Probably should have had some coffee. So, Project Dice Battle Person. We can just get that to be a full loop and something we can play, then we'll be doing good. So, what have we been doing in the project? Well, this week, we pretty much just worked on, I think last time I was doing a bunch of refactoring because I set up this attack box wrong. So this week, we added a button so that we can drop the dice. We can now grab the dice, and we can get more dice. As soon as we fill this attack box, we get the upgrade box. And so the way this is going to work is once you fill this, you're immediately going to get a set amount of materials based on what that value should be. You'll be able to upgrade the faces used to get that value with one of these upgrades. So you start with white, and then you go to a color. The color increases the amount of color materials you can get. And then colored materials will be required to build special items and objects, and so getting them will be good. And then as of right now, we're planning on color materials being mixable so that you can kind of grow those upgrades. And so that's what we got done now. Obviously, with something like this, we need, that's not a game. It's not even a full loop. It's just things happen now. And so it looks a little bit more game-like. You can't click on anything. Some other things we need, or we're going to need, is so when we get to this part and the dice run out in our hopper and our dice, we have that, yay, but we don't have anything that happens now. And so when we get to this point, we need a shop screen, or whatever we're going to end up calling it, and we need that set up so that you can upgrade the dice. Because right now, spawning out these little guys, so you have these little guys to spawn out, they don't do anything yet, but eventually they're going to just kind of have a range based on their level, and they'll walk around your base, collecting special resources and increasing your material amounts the longer they're out there. And so upgrading them will allow you to get more special materials faster. Then you go back and redo it. So the loop that we're looking at is doing that. Upgrading the face of your dice during play by filling out the different attack values, upgrading them, having a shop where you can upgrade the dice and buy more attack values and other items that will help add variety to the run. Receiving this as a group of people, your fate, rolling dice to influence a community to help them grow and survive. And so you'll be doing this and growing and growing and growing. And then there will be calamity where you'll have to save some of the community, or you only have enough resources to eventually save only part of the community, and that will be the end of a cycle, and then the next run will begin. Or that's the idea. We're still working out the details. We're still trying to figure out how do we work these things together. We've been having a lot of narrative meetings where we're talking about the narrative design and the kind of story we want to tell, where we're really investigating what we want the player to feel, and then thinking about those kind of ideas of like, what do we want them to feel, what kind of story do we want to tell, and then how do the mechanics of what we want them to do kind of match up with that, so that we can have it so that the narrative and the mechanical structure are working in tandem to help create a play experience that evokes the emotions that we want to invoke. That's the theory. That's what we're trying to do. We just need to see if we can do that. I have a couple ideas about ways to apply some of those levers. One of them is not calling it dice, calling them communities and people. Every group that goes out is named, making the player name their community, give them a special color that's theirs. Our narrative structure when we're telling stories, we haven't quite figured that out, but I'd like it if there was small, like, maybe when something happens, there's a small vignette where you see like, hey, this dice got to level up, and this one member of that community is special because of that, so that there's a feeling of attachment to what those things are. So when it comes time for the culling, it's not just about what numbers are better, it's about, but my little pixel guy over there is really cool and I like him and he's unique and powerful, but he's not as good as those because I should keep those because they're better. So that's the kind of dilemma, the kind of friction we want to put on the player, choices we want to give them. You know, one of the things that we talked about as far as the studio and the games we want to make is making games where the player's choices have weight, where they matter. Even like the things that they do should always feel like they matter and feel like they're having an impact to what they're doing at large. And so trying to design and develop something like that, it's been tons of fun, and it's been a great guiding light for how to kind of structure all these different things. Another fun thing is keeping it in the Balatro structure has been harder than I thought. As soon as we talked narrative, the Balatro structure seemed like it was like, how do you fit narrative into this? And I think we're finding ways that we can keep this large pool that you then play out parts of and try to sculpt and modify to get a large number that allows you to do stuff to manipulate that pool to get a bigger number. So yeah, that's kind of where we've been at. Besides this, it's also been a very Balatro, or not Balatro, very silksong heavy week, which has been absolutely great. Also, when I'm talking about communities that we send out, this is the kind of thing that talking about. So you'd have these little guys on the map walking around. So if you can imagine, you know, these little boys instead of these guys, and if you're zoomed in, they're just kind of jiggling and grooving around here in the different colors of creatures. Worked on that little guy just to kind of see how that worked. And I like that idea. Another artistic problem that I'm having is scaling right now. The zoom for where this is to the scaling of the unit is wrong. So as a stand-in, this works, but all this stuff is going to have to be seriously sat down and thought about and figured out so it fits. But tomorrow's problems. And yeah, I think that's all the things we've gotten done this week. The game is moving forward. We are getting closer to that full loop. Filling out that upgrade screen and getting that set up was great. having everything work on resources, because that was another large thing, was making sure I'm setting everything up and connecting them right so that it's all done through a resource base that can be upgraded and saved so that they can be used throughout the entirety of the run without it being attached to just a variable. I keep like getting myself into a position where I'm like, I'll just save this to a variable. And I'm like, no. Make the calls on the resource, save things to the resource, use the getter and setter functions I put in there because I put them in there for that reason. So that's the week. Thank you all so much for checking out the Dev Diary. Thank you, Andrew. If you have any questions, please post them below. Do all the YouTube things like subscribe, and that's it for me. I hope you guys have a good week. Hopefully next week we'll have a loop, maybe we'll have a store. We'll see. Y'all have a good one. Bye.